Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of LostinTranslationmon. This time we're covering Digimon Ghost Game episode 19, The Witching Hour. I'm May, and I'm joined by the lovely Quinn.
Hi.
And of course, the equally lovely Chloe.
Hello.
So before we get started, just a recap on the synopsis for this week's episode. So Hiro is trying to get Gamamon to run errands on his own to be a little bit more independent, but a Digimon called Picklemon is making people disappear. He also, being called Picklemon, by the way, which has kind of been an official English translation that's kind of been around since the original adventure. They keep on just calling him Picklemon. It's up there with Ogremon is sometimes written as Orgamon, as in the G and the R the wrong space round, and that's just something that's actually official in the English translations.
Really? Wow.
So Picklemon's canon English name is Pixiemon or Picklemon, depending on if it's the dub or not. So anyway, so Picklemon's making people disappear, but he's trying to get the Digivices off the main characters. He calls them bracelets. Mm-hmm. I mean, I kind of understand, like, they are magical objects that...
But he literally doesn't know what they are, and can already travel through time and space at will, which apparently the Digivices can do.
Look, maybe he just wants some sweet, sweet bling.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He just wants that drip. He needs to get that swag.
He wants...
he
wants
does
that
have
drip.
some real bondagey things on his feet.
Yeah, he needs some matching ones for his arms. 3 of them.
That's how you know he's a bad guy.
Something else, I guess.
Yikes.
Oh, no.
You
Back to the recap.
Not.
I wish I hadn't. I'm sorry.
Back to the recap to save us from that train of thought. So he transports Ruri and Hiro to these worlds, which are kind of like older era sort of areas.
I don't understand if this is the real past.
I know, I don't think it's the real past. I think it's just these worlds that's like the real past. Like, it's kind of like a shadow world. It's got some Persona vibes.
I was going to say it's got a specific episode of Paranoia Agent.
I've never watched that, so
You
for
really
me it's
should.
just Persona. I should.
It was pretty good until the last episode made me cry a whole lot.
It's true.
That's a lot of anime, to be fair. Like, but anyway, so he goes to this world, they all go to the world, and the Digimon show up and rescue Ruri and Hiro because Hiro ends up calling out to Gamamon because Gamamon's calling out to him. They go through a portal, there's some magic, I don't know, and they end up trying to fight Picklemon, but they're unable to really do much, so they have to find Ruri, who also does the magic call out, and they are all able to sort of overpower Picklemon, and he ends up saying, I'm just going to go back in time and erase you from the past, kind of like why don't you just go back in time and kill so-and-so on the toilet or whatever, like when they're least expecting it kind of way.
The answer appears to be he tried and got beaten, but
yeah.
I really would like to know more about how any of that...
Yeah.
I mean, this part definitely has the most amount of
it's
like
very
questions.
Final Fantasy VIII.
I'll have to take your word for it.
Yeah, and so he tries to go back in time to kill Gamamon, but he comes back wounded. Is kind of like, "What are you?" And then he says, "I'm gonna go check out the future." And he is so impressed, he decides to be friends.
It was upsettingly stupid,
but not in a good way like last week.
No.
Now that we've discussed the overall episode, let's discuss our discussions. So what were our highlights this week?
So, like, in my opinion, the first 2/3 of this episode were, like, amazing.
Yeah,
honestly.
as long as you don't think about it in true air style, the first 2/3 come across pretty great.
They really leaned into the spooky, and I was super here for it. Like, admittedly, we get absolutely no explanation about who the shadow versions of them are or what the hell they're doing. But
why they exist in the past? Was
why they
everyone
exist
in the past a shadow
past.
person?
Yeah, but, you know, other than that, it was really good. It was very spooky. It was very tense. It had good atmosphere. The sound design was pretty good, aside from a few occasional footsteps not really syncing up with the animations very well.
Yeah,
I thought that added to the spooky, but also I guess that's
fair.
just me giving it a free pass.
But yeah, there was like 2/3 of a great episode here.
Yeah, we just, we set up something, because I think we're doing what a ghost game does, which is borrowing from better media, and then trying to write a Digimon ending, and we end up with about 2/3 of a good episode each time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I know we say it a lot, but they have really good setup, and then it kind of loses itself becoming a Digimon episode. It's almost like these are just those spooky stories that are just kind of passed down, which don't really have endings because you want them to be spooky. So you kind of like, and then you're sent to the shadow world, and then your shadow self takes over you.
Hook hand, car door, handband.
Yeah, hook, car, man, door hand. And it's very spooky. Yep. But they try to give everything an ending, which kind of, they don't have time for the ending because it's already a story in itself. You go to this world and you're taken over by your shadow, and it's very scary.
And we set up right from the beginning that Picklemon just thinks this is good fun.
Yeah.
For some reason.
He likes it, so therefore everyone does.
Doesn't matter if they're scared.
Yeah.
And also there are shadow people trying to replace them.
It's unclear as to whether or not he even knows about that, honestly. Like,
I think that's how he was going to get the Digivices. He was going to, like, get them to be taken over by the shadow person, and then they give up the Digivices or something.
The shadow people are an extension of Picklemon's power? Is that what we're saying?
I think so.
I'm less than clear on what Picklemon's plan was, because it was apparently to just make them so happy they'd give them their bracelets without asking.
Uh-huh.
And but then, happy with horror.
I mean, yeah. I guess I get that, but, you know.
Do you? I don't know if I do.
I mean, I've enjoyed a haunted house and things. Like, I get the idea.
And
maybe.
Most importantly, are you ready for me to be looking far too much into things? Because
yes, we're so into that.
Because I do this, and then it's the whole, like, sitting through Colin and being like, okay, Mimi's grandfather, the true big bad, let's go. Mm-hmm. It's God, up there with that. So strap yourselves in for something that will never happen, but might be kind of cool.
I'm buckled up.
So at the end of the episode, Pixie's like, hey, I'm gonna go in the future, and then he comes back, he's like, oh, you're really cool, I want to be bestest buds with you, and now he's good. Or is he? What if he saw just, like, the evilest Gammon, like, who is just this evil overlord, and then he comes back and he's like, cool, evil.
I'll be real, the fact that we didn't get some kind of, like, anything out of what the future looks like beyond you're real cool, like, why have a time travel episode where you don't do anything with time travel?
Well, they did some things with time travel. They went to the past, but I will, like, maybe. Yeah, it's on my lowlights list that the resolution was 10 seconds of, I'm gonna go to the past. Ow. Okay, I'm gonna go to the future. Oh, you're cool.
And we started from the very first moment with, oh, we're going to go have fun, so you know that it's going to be a misunderstanding. We're going to talk things out after.
I don't think so. I think that Picklemon is actually evil. Like, I don't think he is, like, this.
I think he's an awful human being, but I think the plot said he's a good person.
I think he's an awful Digimon.
You're not wrong.
I don't think that... I honestly don't think the plot's doing a misunderstanding here. I think that he is just kind of... It kind of has the same feel as Fellasmon, how he is getting enjoyment from the fear. Like, I can't remember the exact line in this episode, but it was like, oh, and they're having so much fun with all their screams. Like,
yeah, crying and screaming.
I think he actually likes giving people trauma, and it's kind of like in a Fellasmon way, but he's not as aware of it, but he's still fairly evil, and I think... So by
contrast, I think Picklemon's just gonna be in future episodes as a good guy, like we did with Pokemon for until he got upstate farmed.
I'd be surprised.
I don't think he's going to be reoccurring, and if he is, I feel like it's going to be he keeps on making bad things happen because he thinks it's good, and not really like it's a misunderstanding. He thinks good things are bad and bad things are good. Like, that's just who he is.
He's just doing his chaotic evil thing.
Yeah, he's just enjoying being, like, he's having fun, and he doesn't really particularly care about other people because he's having fun, and if he's having fun, everyone's having fun. But yeah, I'm just
the degree to which we just did not dwell on, like, buddy, motivations. You kidnapped apparently dozens of people.
Yeah,
and did they come back?
But he still kidnapped dozens of people.
Yeah, but I don't think they came back. I think this is another case of, like,
we had a one line of you're going to release everybody else, and he said okay.
Yep.
I don't believe
resolved
him.
It.
Yeah,
it was a very blink and you miss it resolution of that.
That's, to be fair, kind of Ghost Game. Like, in most episodes, I think they kind of say, oh, yep, and we'll release all the other people, but it's in one line. They don't actually animate it. Or sometimes they do, but in most episodes they don't.
They animated the people getting unstatued, but, like, I don't know if they ever animated the people getting unturned into alcohol.
No, some of those people just die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in some episodes I think that people have just died, but they haven't really said that they have. They've just like, hey, here's one guy I've returned back, and you kind of just hope.
Well, because it's a children's show, you know.
Because it's because.
So let's try to get back on track and talk about highlights. I
Yes,
think.
that's a good idea.
Oh yeah.
I thought that Jellymon trying to game the whole first Aaron tradition to get them to owe her a favor was pretty on brand, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I actually liked that whole thing, really. The first Aaron thing was cute, because that's... I don't know if all of our listeners will be familiar with kind of the Japanese tradition of sending a kid out to do their first errand and get to know that, like, you know, if they get lost, they should be able to just ask a random stranger who will help them, and, you know...
And those are like very young kids in Japan. Like not like, you know, not like, you know, you'd send out your 13-year-old to get some milk. We're talking about like still like maybe just started their first year of school or something, but like 5 or 6. Like these are still very small children.
Yeah, and to go off on a side, I've always thought it interesting how, you know, America does stranger danger while Japan does. Yeah, no, everyone in society you can just assume is probably a decent person until proven otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we kind of also do the same, like stranger danger at that age, and not like go off into the world now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jellymon trying to then like, you know, follow along and get a favor out of it was very adorable.
Yeah. But I did like that they're, you know, encouraging Gammamon to grow up a little bit. He said chocolate for the first time.
He did.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's like, have we ever seen like a Digimon in Digimon actually grow up that's not evolution? Like usually it's like only in evolution that we see them grow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, typically. I mean, Guilmon some.
Yeah, but he's still kind of a little bit like Takatomon.
Sure, but I mean, he noticeably grows from the, like, literal baby he is when he's first born.
Yeah, and there's also, like, in things like Try and Kazuna, we have the Digimon make a point of, like, oh, they grow up, but we don't.
Yeah.
I was into the shadow characters. They don't make any sense, but they're really cool.
Yeah, no, those are the best part of the episode.
That Uncanny Valley smile.
Yeah.
Just, like, it was so haunting. I loved it. It was
very
so...
ominous.
I loved how scary it was.
Yeah. That being said, Evil Hero's silhouette looks nothing like
Hero.
Hero.
We're doing highlights, Quinn.
Okay. I'll get to that.
But on that note, though, the shot of Hero being strangled by his shadow self, but, like, it's from an angle where it's kind of hard to, like, tell the two of them apart, and you can really only see from the shadow. That was a really nice shot. I liked that.
I was into that. It was very David Lynch.
The animation was also incredible, like and the lighting of how like the sun
is
setting.
The sepia
it's just
toning and the fish angle lens up to the clouds at the beginning.
We did do a bunch of fisheye lenses. Yeah, it was nice. It wasn't quite as pretty as I'd hoped, but it was still pretty good looking. And I think I already said it earlier, but the audio was also really good. They did a good job of making it actually like feel scary for not only to watch but to listen.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost Game has been doing a pretty good job of being scary, like with that scary atmosphere, and they've just sort of kept that up, and I'm a big fan of that.
I wish that we didn't then have to tonally shift to, but everything's fine right at the end.
I mean, that's just an effect of it being an episodic kids show. Like, they have to resolve it. As I said, like, it almost feels like each episode is just a spooky campfire story, which is just complete after the character dies, but because they have to resolve it at the end of each episode, it's kind of like this rushed ending. Yeah. As we said, it's like, you know, hook car door, man door hand, like that kind of thing. It's sort of scary and complete, but it's almost as if... And then it turned out to be misunderstanding. The husband was just helping the hook man door, car door hand guy along. He was just lost or something. Like, it's instead of like... But then there was a hook on the car door. And then he offered his hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they kind of have this scary concept, but they have to resolve it in a good way.
And then it turned out the vicious killer was just misunderstood and needed a hug.
And then Captain Hookmon showed up for homoeroticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Like, they have to resolve it, even though in itself, like, just the scary part of the episode is scary. But again, they have to resolve it, which is it's fine.
I just really think switching to the purely episodic thing they've done was a very poor decision.
Yes and no. I don't know if I'd say very poor, but I think it would. They certainly could benefit from having some story arcs every here and there.
I think it works, but only because we're doing like the Mon of the week being a different Mon every week and being scary. I feel like that format fits the show. I feel like they wouldn't be able to keep it up with different scary monsters if it was just, the same scary monster every week. If it had like more of a plot, I feel like it would get a more stale each episode. But because it's a different Digimon every week, it's a different way of being scary. It's different things that are scary. This week it was the sound design, this creepy smiles.
Sure.
In previous episodes, it's just been a creepy atmosphere or just the context being creepy. It's different each time, and I feel like if it weren't episodic, they wouldn't be able to make it feel different and creepy each time. It'd feel like it would get stale because it'd be working together for the same end goal, which is just far off in the horizon, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I gotcha. Are we ready to move into lowlights, you think? Unless you got any more?
No, I don't really have many highlights, but at the same time, I personally don't think I have many lowlights. This episode, for me, just felt...
we got a whole
list. Yeah, y'all can go off, but I don't really have much to say about this episode. There's parts that I really liked, but I'm not 100% on how I feel about it, if that makes sense. Like, there was bits I liked, but then
we got to the
flat.
end and just went, what the...
Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
That's Ghost Game for you. I love this season, and it'll probably still end up around my favourites in terms of Digimon seasons, but it does sure kind of fall off after a certain point each episode. They do beginnings really well, and they do the investigation part, but then every week...
They don't know how to do anything with the ending beyond... And then everybody decided to get along.
Yeah, if we were doing like episodes by like ratings by minute of episode, like there would be a pretty consistent pattern of starts really strong and then drops off really fast at the end.
All of these episodes remind me a lot of the works of Roald Dahl, who is a fantastic writer. I'm fairly certain that's what I'm thinking of, but absolutely sucks at endings. Yeah. Every ending is just like, he had to end the book, but he wasn't sure how. Like, I think it was The Witches. They're just like, mice don't live very long, do they? Because he's still a mouse. I think the movie changed it. And then the grandma said, no, mice do not live very long. And then the mouse child goes, well, we'll be dying at the same time, won't we? Because the grandma is fairly old. And the grandma's like, yeah, I suppose so. That's the ending of a children's book.
Yep.
Wild.
I can't remember the way the movie ended, but I feel like it was different.
Fair. At any rate,
I think he just got turned back to human. But yeah, continue.
That's nice.
I guess. So basically, like, we can kind of sum this up largely as my low light, at least, was the parts where we were a Digimon episode.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's real clear which parts were stolen source material, and those parts were fine. And then we bolted on Digimon stuff like, Gamamon saying chocolate and Picklemon, who apparently just can travel through time and space at will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also wasn't a fan of the fact that they just kind of foreshadowed from the very beginning that this was going to be another misunderstanding scenario, even if it's not quite as clear-cut as that. Maybe it is just, maybe Picklemon is more evil than I initially thought.
If he wasn't going to turn around and be good, you make him run away and not just say, I'm going to be your best friend.
Yeah. I wish we knew why Picklemon wanted their bracelets, or like how he or the humans that he took to the past even knew about them.
Yeah, that's a fair question.
I wonder if it's more of like for starters, the humans he took to the past might just know because all the things that have been happening, like the Zasumon coming out of every phone.
But how does that tell them about the bracelets or the three kids?
Or the three specific kids, yeah.
Well, they've probably seen them pop up around the same time that the monsters do, and then when they pop up, they press a button on their bracelets, and then they disappear. That's
stretch, and the show goes out of its way to suggest that no one sees the kids.
I think that's what this episode's kind of
We had them go out to a power plant, and no one noticed. There were no other employees at the power plant.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, and they could have even included an explanation, but they just don't.
Yeah. Like Picklemon just shows up, wants the bracelets for some reason, and decides the best way to get them is to send random people back into the past where they can have fun by being attacked by shadow monsters, and then the kids will be so happy that they'll give the bracelets over to Picklemon without, them asking.
Yeah.
But what if he's like aligned with Dracomon, who also wanted the ability to materialize and to be able to control that, and maybe he knows.
That would be cool. I wish we'd have said
Yeah.
anything.
Or
I don't think
any indication.
Picklemon already can just decide
Yeah.
to be purely physical.
Yeah.
And has
actually,
the power to travel through time.
And space.
I was honestly surprised that Dracomon didn't show up in this episode, because the intro kind of like hologram ghosts, spooky, scary skeletons kind of thing at the start of each episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but we got an animation of Dracomon in that this week.
Oh yeah, but that happens not every week, but maybe 30% of the time.
I don't think we've actually seen Dracomon in it since the episode after it happened.
Oh no, I guarantee we've had it more since then.
No, but not if we have. It's not as featured. I feel like he was in quite a bit of it. So for some reason, I was kind of expecting it to be Picklemon's not actually the Mon of the Week. He's just kind of there. Dracomon is actually the mastermind. I don't know. That's kind of what I
expected there to be literally any twist. But getting back to our notes, the Shadow People, like I said, were cool, but
honestly the best part of the episode.
Yeah, but literally, why do they exist? How does going back to the past get us evil shadow people who don't look anything like us? What was with the cool parasol?
Yeah, that was the other thing, is that we noticed that Shadow Hero looks absolutely nothing like Hero until we get back from the commercial break.
Yeah, so before the commercial break, I was like, is that Rio? Which would have been just the coolest possible thing to get.
And then we come back from the commercial break, and Shadow Hero has gotten a haircut and looks like Hero, and has also gotten significantly shorter.
I mean, I think it's just kind of like a generic blob that then starts to take on the form of whatever the person is.
I mean, you say that, but it looked like he was wearing a pretty distinct hat or something.
Yeah, he was a very distinct person, possibly the guy from the beginning, except actually not, and Shadow Hero, and
Well, but what if it's the big bad is the Shadow People or something?
It would be cool if they had any indication of that.
Yeah, you can keep throwing out random ideas, but it sure would be nice if any of them had even slight evidence in the episode.
Mm-hmm. The fact that the resolution was basically just 10 seconds of, you're pretty poggers in the future, that was pretty... I disliked that.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that, Picklemon would have come back from the past being all beat up, and then be like, okay, fine, I'm going to go to your future, and then come back, on the verge of death after getting gooloosed or something. But no, instead he was like, OMG, you're so cool, I want to be your bestie, I'll do whatever the hell you ask now.
And also, that we didn't get Clueless Gamamon when Hero got abducted and they told him, oh yeah, we may never see him again.
Yeah, I was really expecting to.
Something. At least give me a shouting so hard the dimensional wall breaks or something.
Okay, so the thing is, we literally did get that.
But we didn't. I mean,
they both shouted each other's names, and then the Digivices made a dimensional rift.
Yeah. I just think they could have expressed more man pain to break through a dimensional barrier.
You're asking for more man pain?
Asking for slightly more than just Ruri says someone's name and then light goes off.
That's fair. Sort of on that note, the fact that literally just touching their Digimon partner is all it took to not only unshadow them, but also just banish their shadow selves.
For reasons.
They just touch, and then everything's fine.
We didn't even have confusion over, which one do I shoot when we literally had the good characters covered in shadows while their evil duplicates were trying to take their place.
Yeah.
There was just no ambiguity because we didn't have time for it, because we had 20 minutes to fit this entire setup, the execution, and the resolution.
Mm-hmm. To keep just rattling off lowlights here to help it go a little faster, Battle Gamamon can just fly now because of plot convenience, I guess. He literally just says, I'll fly now! And then he does.
Yep.
But he doesn't become Chaos Gamamon,
yeah.
That's kind of like my...
Yeah,
okay, I guess that would be my low light then.
Yeah, it's just the one drawback that whatever Red Gamamon had, that's gone.
Yeah. So when they first fought Picklemon, Hero shouts Sore Shot, and Kiyoshiro shouts Punishun, and it doesn't work. And then they say, let's show off our new combo, and then Hero shouts Shorsot, and Kiyoshiro shouts Punishun, except this time it works.
Yeah, we do a slightly different animation.
Only for Jellymon.
Only for Jellymon. It may even have been the same animation for shouting the things again.
No, I think they were shown side by side the second time. But regardless, yeah, I was looking forward to like a separation arc, or at least like something besides just yell your partner's name to be safe.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping that this would be like a Tessa Jellymon evolves to perfect episode or something.
Something.
Or, Gulus Gamamon comes and has to, is forced to save Hiro, otherwise, something will happen to him or something like that, and it starts, building a bond between Hiro and Gulus or something. I don't know. I was just hoping for so much more than we ended up getting in the end.
Yeah, like have Hiro get abducted, and now we have to do Aruri and Gamamon pairing or something. Yeah. But like, why was this a time travel episode? And also, why do we have two different apparently forms of time travel by the same character in the same episode?
Yeah, one shout caused a rift, and the other shout. So one shout caused a rift that they all jumped into, and the second shout caused Angoramon to become a teleporter.
But also Picklemon can actually go back in time, but also send other people into a not technically time travel dimension filled with evil monsters or something.
Unclear as to how much it's actually time travel. Yeah,
but like...
Yeah.
Yeah, why was this declared to be time travel instead of just weird, trickster powers? Mm-hmm. Except that we're doing that episode of Paranoia Agent where a guy gets stuck in an illusion of the past briefly.
I don't even remember that episode. At any rate, I already mentioned how sometimes the footstep sounds were desynced from the animations, and how Shadow Hero looked nothing like Hero until after commercial break. So my last lowlight is that I genuinely couldn't stand Picklemon's voice.
It was pretty awful.
But that's all.
But that's the same voice as he's always had, right?
Well, yeah. I would have hated it if I'd heard it before, too.
It is grating and high-pitched, and you kind of just want to use him as football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted to just punt him. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think that covers our lowlights.
Yeah, I don't really have many, but also, yeah, this episode just kind of felt like it happened. But yeah, I think there are more parts that I liked in this episode than not. But yeah, not too much to say.
That's fair.
Favorite character? Mine was Gamamon. I don't know, I feel like I like when we actually get the Digimon to grow up in ways other than just evolution. Like, usually it's just like the Digimon evolves, and then that's the only time they are mature, and then when they are back at their child level again, they're kind of still the same child as before. I like the fact that Gamamon's kind of almost getting his own character development arc. It's usually just the human who gets that, but we get Gamamon to have it, so I picked Gamamon, but also because I felt like if I picked Jellymon one more time, I'd be choosing Jellymon for most of the episodes, so I went with Gamamon.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Chloe?
I'll let Quinn go first.
Yeah. So I actually went with Shadow Ruri, who I feel like has more character development than any other character in the episode.
Yeah, no, that is fair. Also, that creepy smile.
It was really good.
And I really like that.
Yeah,
I feel like if I was a kid, those creepy smiles would.
They'd haunt you.
They were sick. God, yeah, I wish the shadow replicants had a motive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or had just even briefly tried to pretend to be the wrong partner. Mm-hmm. That could have been so sick.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was kind of wondering if that's what they were doing at the end. Like, if they accidentally retrieved the evil partner.
But we can't do that because it's episodic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and that would never happen. Like, I felt like that'd be a terrifying thing that would happen in maybe any show for adults, but because it's a kid's show, we can't just, kill off the main characters and replace them with these terrifying shadow duplicates. I feel like that's
Well, and even if they didn't just kill them off, even if they just got stuck in the shadow world for a while, but the Digimon didn't know for an episode or two or something, could have been pretty cool, but they're not going to do that.
Have them evolve through their evil shadow duplicates or something. That could be super
Give everyone shadow evos. God.
With edgy scarves, definitely.
Yeah.
Chloe,
make
who's your favorite?
Kishiro take off the bandages.
Yes.
Yes, that's his shadow form.
Mm-hmm. My favorite character was Shadow Ruri's vanishing parasol.
Okie dokie, that is fair. So we're going with sort of semi-abstract concepts. I mean, I guess it was at least in the episode.
Still pretty tied to Shadow Ruri, though. I just didn't also want to choose Shadow Ruri.
That is fair.
But I'm sad that her shadow. I'm sad that her parasol just kind of vanished.
Yeah,
it was. I want to know more about why she had it in the first place. Mm-hmm. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was.
She looked like she's had 3 husbands mysteriously die under less than clear circumstances.
Yeah, questionable.
terrifying.
I was kind of hoping that it was like when both of them were like significantly taller than their counterparts. I was wondering, is this like them from the future or something?
That's what I thought they were doing.
But-
Thousands
honestly.
of years ago.
Yep,
In
somehow
the
it's in the future. Yep. But yeah,
So, what about ratings out of 5? I gave it my usual. This was a 3 because I don't know how to feel about it. It was more entertaining than just a meh. A meh is like a 2.5 for me. So a 3 is like there were parts that I liked. I like Digimon. I like how it was spooky. So I gave it a 3, which I feel like is what I give for all Ghost Game episodes. Quinn, what was your rating out of 5?
I think I'm also going to give a 3. I didn't hate it. There were just a lot of ways it could have been a lot better.
Yep, yeah, that also sums up my thoughts. Like, it could have been better. And that's Digimon Ghost Game in a nutshell. It could have been
Every
better.
given episode could be about 60% better with some fairly minor tweaks.
Also with a little bit more runtime sometimes. Chloe?
yeah, I was struggling to figure out how I felt about this episode, so I didn't get a rating written down ahead of time, but I think I'm also going to jump on the 3 bandwagon because, yeah, it was better than a 2.5. There were parts that I really liked, but there was just so much stuff that just left me confused or disappointed that I can't really justify giving it much more than a 3.
That is fair. So we all agree, and I feel like that's the first time for a bit all 3 of us have given the same rating since apparently episode 8.
13. We all gave a 5.
13. Oh yeah, I forgot that there were good episodes. a really good episode, rather. Yeah, okay, you're right.
You know what
So
would have been a good way to handle that? Have Gamamon just, believe that Hero's dead and just kind of go nuts and actually kill Picklemon.
That's what I expected to have happen. I'm so excited.
I forgot to mention, but yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen.
And then we didn't get a prophecy out of someone who literally goes to the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he came back as Jedi. It was because of a prophecy. But anyway,
The prophecy is
that
you're
means
super cool in the future.
apparently, and he will not elaborate on that at all. No one will ask him to elaborate either.
Can you elaborate on that?
No.
Nope. I choose not to. Anyway, so that means that episode 19 got an overall score of 9, which means it's tied with episode 10, which was the Game of Death episode, which was the fighting game, people turning to alcohol episode. Do we like this episode more or less? I think I liked this episode less than episode 10, but y'all put episode 10 fairly quite low down.
Yeah, I think I like this one.
So what do y'all think?
I like this one better than Game of Death, personally.
Yeah, I'm willing to say the same.
Okay, I think I might have said more than, but I mean I'm less than, but because of our overall, I will put it in 14th place, so that is above episode 10. So episode 19 is in 14th place, episode 10 is in 15th place. In terms of my own ranking, I have episode 19 in 15th place. So fairly low down, but that's just because I've given a lot of things that are higher than 3s. So it kind of sits there, but I still enjoyed it. Quinn, where are we putting episode 19 in your ranking?
I'm going to put it just over last week's.
So that was episode... I can't even...
Episode 18 you put in 3rd place.
Yeah, I'm about to say, so this is a second place episode?
I thought... brains are like sometimes.
This is episode 19,
how that can be?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking maybe above... Yeah,
You
I think
gave it
second...
a 3. A 3 is a unique rating for you.
Ah, that's interesting. Well then,
So I guess it'd be over episode 16.
yeah, which is where I thought I was suggesting. So yes, above 16, under 7.
Okay, so that is in 14th place.
Okay, my beat.
So, again, Quinn continues to be more or less in line with the overall ranking.
All opinions are my own, yes. All of your opinions
Yeah, that is true.
are mine.
So 14th place for Quinn. And Chloe, where are we putting it for yours?
I also gave this one a 3, which I gave to episode 18 and 16. But I think I liked this better than The Man-Eater's Forest and The Land of Children, so I'm going to put it between episode 11 and episode 18. Which I think would probably be 13th place, but I don't want to count it out like I did last week.
that is 13th place. So, yeah, we've sort of all put it in the same sort of area.
Yep.
Overall 14th place, Quinn's 14th place, Chloe's 13th place, and my 15th place. Yes, that's how numbers work, I think.
Hooray.
But anyway, so those were our rankings do we have any miscellaneous thoughts or anything that we haven't mentioned?
Yeah,
So,
actually.
I was looking through the apps on Hero's phone because I was just kind of curious, and I have no idea what the heck gift patch is supposed to be.
Yep, it's the only icon that doesn't make any sense. Also, Hero, how do you...
I also misread it initially and thought it said girl patch, and I wish that's what it was.
Me too.
That's funny.
But yeah, Hero,
That'd
you
be
have...
cute.
You have like 9 apps, they're all boring, and you don't even have a clock on your home screen.
He had a clock app, though.
Yeah,
it was
he
just
did.
covered by the error message.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Hero is a very, default home screen kind of person.
Yeah.
I think it...
Yeah.
I guess on that note,
That's
it kind of vibed with his character, but,
Yeah. Boring.
That's actually a really good way to describe him as, kind of
Vanilla?
default.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, I always don't mind the vanilla characters because it almost lets the viewer kind of imprint on them as oh, this is me. Because if you have a character that's kind of vanilla, kind of standard,
Oh, yeah, it
I
allows...
really dislike self-insert anime protagonist.
Oh, but
yeah,
it happens
I mean-
all the time. That's why a lot of
Yeah, it
video
does
game
happen.
protagonists are also just kind of, blank slates for the player to insert themselves on.
And don't tend to talk. Like the Pokemon one is probably a good example of that. Is the Pokemon one's meant to be you, basically? And when they kind of just make a facial expression, it's kind of meant to be a part, and they don't say anything, that's meant to be you responding
You
in the
would
way
say
that
whatever
you would
you
respond,
would
I
there,
guess. Yeah. So it's insert what you would say here,
Right.
player.
And I think
yeah,
that's
I
very
guess-
dumb too, but...
Oh yeah, it's definitely, it's one of those things that you either appreciate that they're giving you a character that you are, or it's annoying because they didn't write a character having a personality, and I think that I can't see any other opinions to have whether or not you like it or you hate it. I don't think there's a middle ground there.
I also
because
think it's
I can
just usually
understand.
poorly done, because you get the Fallout, there are exactly 3 responses, and all of them are terrible.
Yeah, it reminds me of in Cyber Sleuth how you can choose your responses, but the English dub, or the English translation rather, was so, it was made in such a rush to get it out, and it was the first game that we had in English in 15 years or something. So it ended up being, the code had a glitch where if there was a long sentence that dropped to the next line, it would be another option. So even if it was a full sentence that was over 3 lines, it would actually come up as 3 different options.
Yeah, you could have a
select.
sentence fragment as an option. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
And it
which
was-
is weird.
And yeah, the
But,
answer
yeah,
was
that
you
kind of
said all
reminds me of
3 of them, then had to pick one.
Yeah.
Yep, it's weird.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess those are our thoughts on this week's episode.
I have one more miscellaneous thought, which is that do the Digivices actually just allow them to warp anywhere
We sure
then?
at least did 2-dimensional travels on the basis of having a Digivice and saying a name. And we allegedly traveled through time as we did it.
Yeah. Because that seems super plot handy.
That's a good point.
Yeah, can we just literally go back to before the bad guys start their plan whenever we find out what it is?
See, I'm sure we're never going to see this function of the Digivice ever again.
No, we're probably Picklemon, or if he does, none of that will matter.
Mm-hmm. But I was just
Yeah.
kind of curious as to the lore implications of the fact that the Digivices turned yellow and then they were able to rip a hole in space and time to save their friends.
That's definitely a
Can
new
you not?
functionality of the Digivice
I
that
can't.
we have not
I
seen
don't know.
before.
Does that mean I'm not a protagonist?
Yeah, so you gotta do the
I'm
Gotenks thing
sorry.
of just shouting so hard that you can open the hyperbolic time chamber. Which is basically what happened here, but with a lot less shouting.
Yeah, they were shouting all over the place. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but...
Everyone
Not
shouted
shouting,
to
it's
get
anime.
I meant
their...
specifically to open the dimensional walls, because
Yeah.
Rui was
Well-
pretty quiet for that one, to be honest.
No, she wasn't. She said the first one. She said Angoramon, and then she went Angoramon,
Oh, I
and then
forgot that we had to shout it the second time.
yeah, because the shouting is what
The shouting is what
makes
makes it work.
the
Duh.
dimensions break down.
Yeah,
Of course.
that's just Dragon Ball.
That's how you shonen. You yell real loud.
Uh-huh.
You have to show them your nen.
This episode on Ghost Game Z.
Alright, so now that we're done discussing the episode, let's ponder Postmon Pat and predict for future episodes. So first up, for Postmon Pat, we have our comments on episode 18 on over on YouTube. So first up, we have Costas, who says that Petermon are having a villainous breakdown and saying that adults lie and break promises made them think about the episode was building up to a Toy Story reveal. What if Petermon used to be partners with a human kid who grew older and abandoned him or stopped believing in Digimon? And I feel like that's kind of what we had in Tamers with Itmon.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I kind of was wondering if we were going around that path too, like Digimon is something that all kids can see, but maybe when humans grow up, they stop seeing the Digimons.
Not this time,
It
at
would
least.
be cool, though.
Potentially, although it's way more Peter Pan than a show that already kind of shot its Peter Pan wad can really do. In multiple ways they did that.
How dare you?
Yeah. Next, we have Emotional Stakes, who says, Daddymon came along and then they touched Rod is an absurdly funny line. Seriously though, that segment was so hilarious, subtext-laden, and they applaud these script writers for the sheer audacity.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was very a lot.
It was. I can't fault them for just literally coming out of nowhere with the homoeroticism to save the day.
Absolutely. That's usually what solves problems.
Yeah.
Next, we have RN, who says that we only saw Wezen using Sedna now, and he's wondering if his strongest attack is still yet to be seen. Well, the preview for the next episode looks like we get Wezen Gamamon again, which makes me wonder, where's Cal's Gamamon? He's my favourite because he's blue and he flies. He's like a gliding squirrel friend. I want to see more of Cal's Gamamon.
But we don't need that anymore because they can all fly, I guess.
Well, and perhaps more importantly,
so
we
annoying.
see in the preview that Wezen Gamamon can move.
Yeah, he was like, it looks like he was almost moving on rollerblades though, so I'm hoping that he just moves like that.
We're gonna drag some pixel art.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so worried that the animation will just go down the toilet next episode because Wezen Gamamon is just rollerblading. And not in I'm not sure if he actually has rollerblades under his feet, which by the way would not surprise me for a Digimon to have that because
he's running. I'm looking at it. He's running.
Yeah. That being said, we have in Frontier done Digimon on roller skates.
yeah. That's what I'm just saying. But about Kendo Garurumon, who just kind of was on rollerblades. So, wouldn't hate it, but anyway, Wezen Gamamon is showing up next week and may or may not be on rollerblades. Hopefully just moving, and I hope that the animation quality...
It's convenient.
Oh, please, no.
He shoots a rocket out of his butt and propels himself forward.
No. That wouldn't surprise me if it did do that, but it just annoys me that Battle Gamamon can fly because Cal's Gamamon's whole thing was like, hey, we need an evolution that can fly. Okay. It makes... Anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm actually pretty mad that they didn't even have Battle Gamamon fly by, shooting flames downward. He literally just could jump real far and stay in the air indefinitely.
That's annoying because... again, they could have just done the superhero thing of firing because they wanted to design more forms, I guess. I don't know, because it worked for the dim card. Anyway, next we have M says, they don't know why, but it's funny, where the line gets drawn about stuff like Ogamon's first 3 pre-evolutions or Gatomon evolving into a yassified angel. They understand the craziness of it, but personally they think the variety in possible evolutions is really charming. Anyways, they said that they enjoyed this podcast and it was another good one, and they're really enjoying listening to these. And yay, I'm glad that people enjoy this.
Yeah, I have no idea why anyone listens to
this. Yeah,
I'm
surprised that people care about my opinions on Digimon, but I appreciate it.
And people should care about opinions on Digimon because Digimon opinions are the most important thing and they are the champions.
Psycho.
They are the chocolates. Next, we have Amelia who says that the fact that Petermon is an adult level makes his whole existence weirdly interesting to them. It's a fascinating wrinkle. And yeah, it's kind of like, I enjoy the hypocrisy that Petermon is an adult, but is telling them that adults are bad.
You either die a child or live long enough to become the villain.
The homoerotic villain.
Yeah, true. Then we have Garuchu who says that we all saw very different subtext with Petermon and Captain Hookmon. To them, this was Petermon forgetting the true meaning of his legend and Captain Hookmon reminding him that growing up is hard, but not bad. They will say that it gave them a good laugh though. Also, their theory on the Digivice in this season is, like Tamers before it, Digimon exist as a form of media, but are also real. Humans and Digimon can form bonds no problem. Hero's dad just made the Digivices to look cool. This is also 2 weeks now that they thought we'd be getting a Lamortmon episode, which is Simba and Gamamon's perfect level, and are wondering when that will happen. Hopefully soon, but also I don't feel like we're getting any evolution to perfect anytime soon because we haven't had Gamamon evolve to perfect, and I feel like we're going to have Gulas Gamamon again before we have any other perfect level Digimon.
Yeah, I'm also sort of expecting Hero to have 5 perfect levels or something.
Only one exists that we know of.
Give them time.
What level is
none of
Gulus
them have
Gamamon?
another bracelet.
Is Gulus Gamamon just the same level as all the others?
Yep.
Okay.
He's adult.
That's lame.
So the same as the others. But all of them have one perfect level Digimon from their dim cards, but none of them have mega level Digimon. Which is, well, they have mega levels they evolve into, but there's nothing that's unique to them. They're all, like, pre-existing Digimon.
Help a Digimon noob out here. What is the hierarchy? Is perfect better or lower than mega?
Lower than mega. So
Perfect
I
is lower than mega. But then it's not perfect.
I combined English. I combined the English and Japanese terminology.
Oh, okay.
So in the English version, it goes rookie, champion, ultimate, mega.
Which is still
And the
terrible.
Japanese one goes child, adult, perfect, ultimate. But I combine them
Both pretty
because...
Yeah.
Yeah, because both have ultimate, so I try not to use ultimate as a level, because otherwise
That'd
am I
be too
talking about
confusing.
English ultimate? Am I talking... Yeah, what ultimate am I talking about? So I combine them and say perfect, it goes to mega. So there's no overlaps of terminology there. It's all unique forms. So
Gotcha.
perfect, mega.
But
So
yeah, I guess that's my
I'll-
prediction is
yeah.
that at some point, Hero is going to get 2 perfect so that they can sell you another dim card.
I mean, I'm honestly expecting another dim card for each of the 3 that includes their mega level Digimon. Like, unless we're just not doing mega levels in this show.
No, I think they
we're
just
down.
want to sell
Right,
twice as
another
many products to you.
Yeah.
You specifically,
But
Air.
At the same time,
buy it, we gotta
there was. So we got Tamers Dims that were online Gachapon only, and they were smaller rosters. It was just Gilmon, Renamon, Impmon, and Monodramon, no Terriermon. And then a little bit later, they announced dim cards for each of the 3 Tamers Digimon. So Renamon, Gilmon, and but this time with Terriermon. But the Gilmon and Renamon evolution paths were fairly similar, so there was a lot of backlash about people saying, hey, this is too much like the Gilmon and Renamon dims that we already have.
So it's extremely
what ended up
precedented for them to do that.
yes, they
No,
are.
no, let me finish. They actually cancelled it, postponed it. It was meant to be released in November last year, but because they had to rework it, so they were completely different dims, they got postponed until, like, yesterday was their release date again instead. So it was postponed by several months, and they reworked it completely. So now that there was that backlash, I don't think that if they do release it, I think they'll have to make it very, very different.
But see, the
or
thing,
they'll face that
it
backlash.
still stands that they are getting you to buy another dim card in the end, regardless of the actual content on it.
Yeah, we can't sell you the complete product that we're going to make because
That's
have
not
to
the
get
video
you...
games model anymore.
Well, and we need you to watch a non-specific number of episodes of the show, and then we can sell you another one that's a tie-in better to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But in the same way, they also had 2 other dims that were meant to be coming out, but those have been indefinitely postponed. There's been no information about them since, and in a similar way, they were also said to be reworked and postponed following that backlash. So
That's good.
there's a...
I'm glad that they can't
they are
literally
listening.
anything and make money anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the comments. We then have Narumi, who says the episode is a solid 4 out of 5 for them. Even though it was weird that Petermon smelled children and Digimon, they liked the way that Petermon was portrayed. Looking like a good guy for children and Digimon, but acting like a psychopath when someone talked about growing up.
Did he look like a good
cosplaying
guy?
Harry... Pardon?
He looked like a good guy to the children Digimon, I guess.
Yeah, he did.
Very,
He looked
very
like kind of...
briefly.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't like super evil, like monster looking.
That's fair.
Kind of, I guess.
You know, he definitely had some crazy on his face.
Is
right from the
the
beginning.
handsome psychopath the Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, they say that they were. It was unexpected that the 2 Hawkmon and the other Digimon got to evolve, and they enjoyed the episode a lot. And the moment when Petermon met Daddymon was really gay, so they can't complain about the nonsense of Captain Hookmon coming from nowhere. And yeah, I like I like Daddymon showing up.
Yep.
We sure can burst through dimensional walls like Kool-Aid Man.
Carhand,
Yeah,
Hook
that
Door,
happens.
Daddymon.
Yeah, so,
Next,
so
we have
Digimon
Katie.
just straight up did, car door, hook hand, gives you directions to the nearest town.
And gives you a daddy as well.
Yeah, just I don't know, the degree to which we start off with 2/3 of a scary story and then have to write and then everything was okay.
Yeah.
Next, we have KG, who says that they're surprised that we didn't get Tinkermon in the episode, but they guess they had a lot going on already. And as absurd as it was, they kind of liked Captain Hookmon essentially saving the day, since it was flipped to make Petermon the villain. The whole episode gave them major Once Upon a Time vibes, and they also appreciated that the Hookmon wanting to save their friend made them evolve to Orcamon, because it reminded them of the heroic acts Joe had to do for the others in order to activate his crest of sincerity/reliability to make Gomon evolve. And yeah, I miss Joe. I wonder how Joe is doing in Adventure Colon. I hope he became a doctor, which is something that the show never told us really that he wanted to do and didn't elaborate much.
Nope.
Oh well.
He did.
At least there's an English dub coming.
He never looked at.
Yeah. Next, we have Sean saying that memory horror is one of the scariest things to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that part of the episode, yeah, it's like memory horror is definitely like
Scary shit.
definitely horrifying. Yeah, like this show is doing a lot of like very basic, like this is horror, and then they're doing like more like realistic horror, like memory horror. Like you can lose your memory in real life, and that is horrifying.
Yep, not a fan.
And they've also done, like, you know, dissociating and kind of those sort of things as well. So it's more than just like, oops, spooky, scary monster. They're also putting in real horror as well, which is scarier than the monster horror. So Sean continues to say they really liked seeing the Hookmon evolving to protect their friend, and they wonder if the Digivice this season more facilitates cultivating power from the bonds than the bonds themselves. And that's why the kids get bursts of inspiration the Digimon can act on their own, as what we saw with Gulisgamon, but it's much more powerful when the kids shout the name or something. And yeah, that's kind of the impression that I'm getting.
Yeah.
They inject self.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, I was just doing an Atmon.
Yeah, I just meant that always sounded like
Oh yeah, it's a little woo-woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Touchy. Touchy. Turned out it was that they were actually saying Tai Chi and they were talking about Adventure Colon.
Look, Taichi wasn't on the screen.
So someone's got to be talking about him.
Yeah, obviously. And it is the Applerize person, of course, and the Ono man. Of course it is. Atmon is always good to reference. Anyway,
I
next
really
we
wish
have
that
Twilight
Haru's
says...
dad was Grandpa from Atmon.
Yeah.
No, I really hope he was caught up, man. Every episode when we have the random person who gets spirited away of the week. Yeah, I'm honestly sad that it's like, I mean, on one hand, cool, they're designing a character every week.
But are they,
on the other hand, it's not
the most generic guy in suit on a phone.
I wish they were all, like, Ono Guy was one of the funniest things about Atmon.
Ono Guy was
the running
great.
gag of, like, and it was a different person each time. It wasn't, like, the same guy.
Sometimes it was, but sometimes there were also three identical Ono guys.
Yeah. I need to rewatch Atmon.
There were
so
enough
good. Everyone watch
people
Atmon.
to found an ethnic group.
I love that so much. I just wish we had the moment of how we keep on meeting the Museumon lookalikes, and I wish we had the same sort of moment of like, hey, you related? No, we just look the same, which we kept on getting with the Museumon lookalikes. Yeah. Anyway, next we have Twilight, who says the episode was really weird, seemed to go really hard on fun and then really hard on horror, which are both great, but not in a way that gelled naturally. I feel like that's
this week
a
too.
lot of this season. Yeah. Then we have Andrew, who says they didn't see that ending happening, and they don't know what's more confusing or shocking moment.
Did
Birds
anyone
turning
see
into-
that ending happening? Sorry to interrupt.
No. And they say the birds turning into the orcas, or Daddy Hook coming out of nowhere and adopting Peter. Yeah, I mean, that definitely happened and was definitely a surprise.
It was one of the gayest things to ever happen in Digimon.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot, because Atmon exists.
Yep.
And we're done for Postmon Pat, and I don't think I've forgotten anyone. So what are our thoughts about the series so far?
I wish it knew what it wanted to be. And I also wish that we weren't a third of the way through without, like, meaningfully constructing a plot beyond heroes and kids with Digimon.
They've given us some sprinkles, but I wish that it was more of, like, icing than sprinkles, you know? If that makes any sense at all. It probably doesn't.
I wish Hiro had, like, any degree of trauma about both of his parents abandoning him.
Yeah, he seems to be just A-okay with it all,
Yeah.
really.
Well, because
He's just a silent protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can't respond emotionally to things other than likes Gamamon, and
He's too busy being the hero.
yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still enjoying this more than I did with Colin, and Colin had like...
Sure.
You could argue that Colin had mainly plot and not too much filler throughout the whole series, so I prefer this than the way Colin did it.
You can argue
But also,
that, but I
just...
wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I really wish that Hiro had, like, a third of the personality of Haru.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or Takato. Takato was pretty
Like,
full
yeah,
character.
there are multiple great ways you can go with this series, and instead we've just got kid who goes to a school, his parents disappeared, and he's generally pretty responsible, and those are, like...
He gets walked all over and he knows it, but is still fine with it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he, like, I can't think of 3, like, words to describe his personality.
Exists.
Yeah, he exists. He's the most bland, like, vanilla character I think Digimon has maybe ever come up with. Except maybe Daisuke.
I would argue that Henry in Tamers is pretty boring.
Yeah, he had a little more depth to him, but in any event.
Yeah, but I think his dad is his main character. Like, the only thing I can really remember that's unique or remarkable about Henry existing is the fact that his dad invented Digimon.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
That's pretty sick nasty.
But that's his dad, not him. Like, Henry and himself, like, he's mainly bland because you want to see more of his Digimon partner, so
Yeah,
he's, like, bland in comparison.
the straight man to both Takato and Terriermon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Ruki is so extra.
Mm-hmm.
She
She
really
be,
is.
like, just boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm exhausted
So-
and I'd like to call this a night.
Okay,
still
just
need to get
quickly,
thoughts
do we
on-
have any
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
predictions? Yeah, so we've got predictions for episode 20, The Prison of Fire.
It looks like it could be interesting. Since we're I feel like it kind of ties into the episode with What's-His-Bucket, Fellismon. It has a similar vibe to it, at least. So I'm wondering if we might actually see a repeat appearance. That would be kind of cool. We finally, have a Clockmon comes back to be a villain sort of thing. Except I hope they do it differently. But regardless, so that'd be neat. And also, apparently, Wezen Gamamon can move.
Woo!
Yeah, on rollerblades.
Yep.
Hopefully
I
not,
can't
maybe.
wait to see him fly, though. Because I just know that he's just going to jump, like, 100 feet into the air right after the cutaway that they had in the preview there. Because he takes, like, 4 steps and obviously needs to jump 100 feet in the air.
Mm-hmm. I wonder whose hands were dissolving there, though.
Yeah, I'm into the random, like, crowd of people yelling "Burn the witch" or whatever.
Yeah. Also, I hope that that it's not just framing some shots out of context, and that Hero's actually going to try to hit Kiyoshiro with a golf cart, not a golf cart, a go-kart. Close enough.
Alright everyone, so thanks for joining us this time, and Freya has decided to also see off the show, so if you hear barking in the background, it is Freya, my little puppy dog.
Aw, bye, Freya.
But anyway, yeah, she is, we went to a dog show today to check out what it's like there, because her first show is next month, so wish me the luck in the comments for that happening. I'm sure I'll update y'all in some way about the dog show. But in any case, so you can join us next time for episode 20, The Prison of Fire. Looks hot and cool. I don't know. I tried to make a pun and gave up.
We're gonna do some black flames.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, fine.
If it's a fiery one. So anyway, the link dump's linked in the description, and so is our Redbubble. You can also contact us and stay updated. You can send us an email at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode on our website, which is LostinTranslationmon.com, or of course on this episode on YouTube, and we'll read it out on the show in Postmon Pat. And you can also follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and of course YouTube. I'm at Digimon_Hero on TikTok, and that's hero spelled Hiro, and I stream on Twitch on twitch.tv/translationmon. You can also chat with us on the Lost in Translationmon Discord server, and we would appreciate if you would review us on any podcast catcher that you use that accepts reviews, and if I see it, I'll read it out on the show, and if not, give me a little bit of a poke, and I'll read it out, because I'll be able to see it that way. Yay! You can also donate to me on my Patreon, and that's also linked in the description. And you can do so from as little as $1 a month, and that gets you access to the Patreon-only areas of our Discord server, but there are high levels for rewards to unedited and early episodes and more. And of course, if you hear Frey in the background, send her some love because she is a good girl.
We
and
actually
also
heard
send
her
love
that
to
time.
Langley because Langley is turning 11 next month.
Kinda.
In exactly a month, actually.
Mm.
Anyway, so thank you to our current supporters on Patreon. So that's Joe, Stephen Reeves, who is Wild with C4 on Archive Our Own, Kadawashi, Chisai, who can follow on Twitter at Chisai236, Neobu, who says you should follow Chisai on Twitter at Chisai236, Carl, Lismut, who is Elecmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Sam, Emery from Gormal Hunting, a Hunter Hunter Rewatch podcast, Magnus, Lucas, JCMon05, Patrick, Jason, Grey Tanuki, Shelby, Digital Hazard, who is on Twitch at The Digital Hazard, Dedicated Gazi, Alemist, and Michael. And you can also make a one-off donation on PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Airdramon, and of course you can donate to me on my Coffee account as well, ko-fi.com/Airdra. And that is it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. And of course, thank you to the lovely Quinn and the lovely Chloe for joining me. Chloe, Quinn, can we find anyone? Anyone? Can we find anyone? Can anyone find Jarl? There we are. Got the words out eventually. This time, or are we still just playing Fire Emblem?
Largely playing Fire Emblem. You can maybe find me on the Discord server talking about how it is also pretty stupid that Patamon evolves into an angel.
Yeah. You can find me on the Discord shaking my cane at capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. We also do that on the podcast sometimes,
That's
too.
true. Kind of a lot. It's sort of my thing.
Mm-hmm.
More in Colin than in Ghost Game, though, at least.
Colin
But also-
really liked to tell us how great capitalism was repeatedly.
Yeah, in a way that I thought that it was going to go somewhere completely different, and then didn't.
Nope, they were just
So,
unironically
thanks for that,
simping for
Colin.
capitalism.
That happens. Anyway, so thanks y'all
Buy
for
our
joining
dim
me,
cards.
and we will see you on the next.
Sorry.
Yeah, buy dim cards. Digimon are the champions.
Oh,
Empty
last
your
thought on
wallets,
this episode?
please.
The witching hour is midnight, and what did that have to do with this episode?
Well, kids can't stay up to midnight to see the witching hour, so they had to just stay up till
So
the
instead
sunset.
they used the golden hour where photos look really nice, but they had to make it ominous.
Yeah.
I thought that was where
At
you
least
could
it
walk
looked
into
good.
a TV in Persona 4, but maybe I'm remembering wrong.
Never played a Persona.
That's
No.
fine.
It was very Persona 4. But anyway, so thanks y'all for joining me, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Persona 4 was bad.